Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.
I'm actually a little obsessed with period dramas and
Clearly.
with adaptations also. I love adaptations. Yeah, it became a way for us to learn about and understand what was happening to us, about puberty, and that what was happening to us is not wrong. That it's not wrong to like boys. I cannot bear another dark, intense thriller. That just I don't even watch them.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Streaming with Suchin in a new segment that we call the Bingelist, where we talk to actors and creators about their favorite TV shows, just to get a sense of them as an audience, as well as understand how their favorites have come to influence their own choices. For the first episode, we were joined by Swara Bhasker, who spoke to me about her 5 favorite TV shows. Welcome to the first episode of the Bingelist, where we talk to actors and creators about their favorite shows. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And this feels like a great time to talk to you about this because your latest series, Rasbhari, just dropped on Amazon Prime. So what drew you to this story?
I really liked a few things. One, I like the way it was written because it feels like, sometimes there is a certain condescension when people write shows or set shows in smaller towns. I really liked the way it was written. It seemed like someone who's from there has written it. So there's that feeling of warmth. So that even if it's satirical in parts and in places, there's so much warmth over there. It's almost like those characters. You've seen them before. You've seen hot teachers like Shanu ma'am, who everyone is fascinated by, and you're thinking, oh my God, what's her personal life like? Oh, is she having an affair with the PT teacher? All these rumors start about that person. I don't think that we've really seen adolescent sexuality being taken head on in any Indian content.
You mentioned it's a coming of age tale to some extent, and that brings us really nicely to your first pick of one of your favorite shows, which is The Wonder Years, which is such a great show. It's such a sort of wonderful, gentle show, which is obviously a coming of age tale. It really takes you back to a simpler time. Like it really didn't shy away from dealing with the heavy things. So what about this show made it to your list, and how old were you when you saw it?
I must have been really young. Like I must have been 10. It's that age in India when as an Indian child growing up, nobody talks to you about sexuality, right?
Yeah.
We don't, it's not like it's part of the common conversation. And I was actually born into a fairly liberal family where our parents did, at least give us the, like the sex ed talk, and they would like try to talk to us about, issues and stuff. But it's still, the culture is just so, like, even if your own parents are very well-intentioned and liberal, there is just such a culture of silence. Like, you don't want to hear it from them. You're like, no, don't talk to me about that. You know what I mean? So it was that kind of a world. We were discovering, we were all young kids, and we were, like, oh, he likes him and she likes him. And so a lot of these shows, it became a way for us to learn about and understand what was happening to us, about puberty, and that what was happening to us is not wrong. That it's not wrong to like boys. It's not wrong to have these feelings and the crushes and whatever. And of course, the show is a very, as you said, it's just such a warm, beautiful tale. And that whole romance between Kevin and Winnie, and that and it just, the way it grows up, and the fact that it's not exactly a happy ending. Like it's not like they end up together.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and it was one of those shows where, there are not many shows like it where you really start off when Kevin is a kid, like you said. And when the show ends, he's almost an adult, he's in sort of the college time.
Yeah.
You really grow up with the characters.
Yeah.
And it sort of captures a specific period of your life almost.
The thing was that they were all American white characters doing it. So it was not like it was, it was not like, of course our context was different, but still, that's the power of a good story, right? It just rises above the local context and limitations of our own, distinctive identities.
And do you ever wonder where, after the show ended, do you ever wonder like where the characters would be today, how Kevin would be after the show ended?
Well, I did a couple of, I would do like a couple of searches and see who the actor, like in Fred Savage's name, what is he doing now? Where is he now? Like you have that interest. But I also feel like sometimes when a show is that classic and it's become that iconic, like you shouldn't touch it. And you shouldn't try and do a spin-off or do
not at all.
It just never works.
Coming to your next pick, which could not be more different, which is Downton Abbey, the insanely popular show. What I find really interesting about Downton is it's packaged as this really sophisticated drama, but deep down it actually is this very guilty pleasure soap opera kind of thing. Somebody described it as basically an Indian TV soap, but with better clothes. So yeah, like why this show? When did you discover the show?
I'm a huge late Latif to everything.
Yeah.
So I always discover everything after it's done.
Yeah.
So I basically binge watched Downton Abbey like during this lockdown.
Wow.
Actually, yeah.
So literally in the last few months.
Now. So the whole time that it was arranged and all, I was like completely, I was just not tuned into it. I'm a real zoner when it comes to certain things like that. What I liked about Downton Abbey was, you're right. I mean, there is a very massy sort of aspect to it, and but again, what I liked about it was the way it humanizes historical changes.
Yeah.
And historical, we studied feudalism in school and in college, but you never see what it must have been like. What I liked best about Downton Abbey was that it gave equal weightage to the upstairs and the downstairs.
Yeah.
Like, the lives of the masters.
Yeah.
But it's actually the more compelling stories are what are happening with the servants.
For sure.
Yeah. And I loved the way in which you actually see the morality changing in the show.
Yeah.
I love the whole Brandon and Sybil love story,
which is really like, it's such a sort of unexpected, but it really
it's
is
such a
through class.
It's such a Hindi filmy story.
Yeah.
But I really like the struggle, how they really get into the struggle. So once, even after Sybil's died and he's here,
yeah,
his character is so interesting because, it's almost as if it's the character that's sitting on the cusp of both the worlds. The world that is now, it's actually fading, and the new world that is emerging.
There's something very Indian about Downton Abbey. How you have this generation just desperately clinging on to tradition, and it's all about status and appearances and sort of, and the classism aspect, as you said. So there's something where you really do see yourself and your society in a world that is so different.
And also the performances. I mean, I thought that the Dowager Duchess,
Maggie Smith,
Maggie Smith is just at another level, and it was so great because as an actress, when you're watching that, you're like, my God, I could get a role like that when I'm 80.
Yeah,
like there's hope. There is hope. You know what I mean?
So when you're watching these shows, can you watch them entirely as an audience, or is there a part of you that's sort of deconstructing performance or thinking about it from that perspective?
I'm always watching performance. Or when I'm watching a scene and I've watched it and the show's over, I will go back to that scene and see how that actress did it.
Wow.
Especially someone like Maggie Smith. She's such a lesson.
You've never done sort of a big, lavish costume drama like that, but clearly you enjoy watching them. So would you like to do something like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that as an actor, one of the things on my wish list is a period film.
And just coming to the next on your list, which is actually in a very similar space, which is Pride and Prejudice, which is the 95 BBC series.
I'm actually a little obsessed with period dramas and
clearly
with adaptations also. I love adaptations. Yeah.
And this story has been adapted so many times, but this is the one that seems to be everyone's favorite. Colin Firth, it's 25 years later, but Mr. Darcy is still the character that chases him wherever he goes. So have you read the book?
Of course. Of course. I generally always make sure that if there is a book, I will read the book first and then watch the show. I actually haven't watched Handmaid's Tale because I haven't read the book yet. No, because I'm always nervous that the televised or the film version of it will ruin the book for me.
And what do you think it is? I mean, Pride and Prejudice has been remade so many times over the years, movies, shows. What do you think it is about this story that people and storytellers keep revisiting?
I think it's just such at one level, it gets so many basic human nature sort of qualities and characteristics just on point and right. And it just, actually there's a lot of very now familiar tropes, right?
Yeah.
Like there's the headstrong, pretty heroine who's headstrong and very independent, but she's basically very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So she does need to be saved, but she doesn't want to acknowledge that she needs to be saved, right?
Yeah.
In some sense. There's Mr. Darcy, who is of course the tall, dark, handsome, and rich stranger who is in a position to save her, but he will only save her once his obnoxiousness has been humbled and once his pride and his snobbery have been taught a lesson by her. So it's almost as if
he wants to be challenged.
Yeah, he is saving her, but she kind of gets her say as well. So it's like win-win. You know, he gets to play the prince who saves the damsel in distress, but she also gets to be the, as women, you get to feel like, oh, but she kind of brought him to his knees first, you know? And then of course it's a tale, it's a wonderful love story of opposites attracting. And it's also got a nice degree of salacious developments, like the running away and the virtue and the sister who's like this, well, bit of a, let's see now. As a woman, I suppose I can use the word, who's a bit of a slut. And, you know, she brings dishonor upon the family. And I think as Indian viewers, you know, we understand dishonor like no one else does, right? We get what the whole drama is, you know?
Yeah.
Now, of course, for me, I was a student of literature. So it was very interesting to see how they adapted the novel, which I have studied in great detail. It was in our course, into film. And I think they've done an outstanding job.
It really does still hold,
And I think they've really taken the novel and taken the best parts of the novel and got those.
I have to ask you if...
And the performance, as an actress, I have to say, Jennifer Ely is just, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm looking for her. Like, I'm literally looking for her. Like, I have these fantasies that I would be able to work with her. And then she's there very briefly in King's Speech. And I was like, oh man, like, you need a bigger role. And she's just such a tremendous actress. I mean, of course, Colin Firth, we see him so much. But she was actually, I mean, it's all, like, she just carried that show.
And it is her story. It really is from her perspective. Which is rare. I have to ask if you've seen the latest adaptation called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It's a film that came out 4 years ago. It's an actual thing that exists. Exactly the same story.
Should I be watching it, or will it just ruin everything for me?
It's exactly the same story, except they have to kill zombies. I don't think that's literally the entire synopsis. So they wanted to twist the story, so they did. Hollywood.
Have you seen it?
I haven't. I've seen the trailer. I think that was enough for me, but I thought I should inform you.
So no, I'm not going to ruin it, because you know what? I've had a couple of times. There have been other adaptations of Pride and Prejudice, and I've watched those, and I've hated them, and I've been so traumatized that I've had to rewatch the '95 Colin Firth, Jennifer Ely one all over again.
Just to keep that memory sacred.
Yeah, I'll pass on the offer.
Yeah, then you don't have to. But the thing with sort of Downton as well as Pride and Prejudice to an extent, you feel like it's very sort of leisurely storytelling. It takes its time. It's really, it shows you those lavish shots of the countryside. And I feel like nowadays shows are all about sort of, you know, the punt. It really is about the cliffhanger. It's really speeding through the story to really give you that intense 8-episode experience. And I feel like this is something that's almost been lost, that really leisurely storytelling that eases you through it. And I don't know if you agree with that.
I mean, I do, and I frankly, I mean, the other thing I feel is that, like, which is why I felt like Rasbhari was such a clutter breaker as well, which is that, you know, I'm just like, I cannot bear another dark, intense thriller. That just, I don't even watch them. Like, I know that they're classics, and I know they're great shows, and they're doing really well, but I'm like, is it dark? Is it depressing? Is it violent? Really violent? Is it like a thriller? No, thank you. I mean, I don't understand. We're living in the middle of a bloody pandemic. Do we need more reasons to be depressed?
Yeah.
Like, do we actually need more darkness in our lives? Like, it's already coming on its own. History is bringing it.
Speaking of history, that brings us to your next pick, which is Bharat Ek Khoj, you know, Shyam Benegal's show on Doordarshan, which was sort of, I'm ashamed to say I hadn't actually heard of the show, but, you know, when I was looking into it, it's such an ambitious tale where he's essentially sort of retold Indian history through this show, with scale that was unheard of at the time. Are you a history buff? What is it about this show that made it to your list?
Yeah, I am. And so the thing is, actually, I was just trying to be like modest, because the other show I wanted to put down was really Samvidhan, which is the one that I narrated. And which is also directed by Shyam Benegal. But I think that in both the shows, I think that Shyam Benegal has just done such an amazing job. So Bharat Ek Khoj is, of course, based on the discovery of India, which is Nehru's tremendous sort of book, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's just such a wonderful way to bring these kind of big, heavy topics to people who may not want to read the books, and especially to young children. And of course, we saw Bharat Ek Khoj on Doordarshan. And it was the shows that our parents would be like, no, instead of Chitrahar, watch this. You know, I'd be like, why do we have to watch this? And they'd be like, no, you watch this. They were okay with us watching that content. You know, like, but it was just so nicely done. And like I think that the in the chapters of it, like in the dramatizations, you know, between the narrations and that it was just good. It was good fictional content. It was good stories. So there were stories, and like the dramatized parts were holding unto themselves as well. So I think that both of these shows are just such tremendous writing exercises, you know, just at the level of, and it's also that classic good television, isn't it? It's that well-intentioned, solid, good television that's aiming to kind of give something substantial to the viewer. It's an exercise in nation building, you know.
But that very thing of great television, you know, it's not something we're known for. You know, television is not something, you know, storytelling on TV is not what we're known for. But there were these massive, you know, with Doordarshan, you had these great filmmakers really pushing the envelope of storytelling and really sort of, you know, mounting these great stories. And, you know, we had Circus and Vyomkesh Bakshi. But with this show...
Yeah, and you had Bunyad, and you had Nukkad.
Yeah.
I mean, there were those, we did actually go through, I think, a 10-15 year period initially, which was quite lovely, actually.
Why do you think it is that they're really not given the attention they deserve? I mean, you know, especially for something so massive, which is something that everyone seems to be trying to make these days. And here you have it done so well.
Absolutely. I think that the thing that really ruined it for Indian television is TRPs.
Yeah.
It just, you know, because it just justifies trash.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it just, like, I think this logic of, it's the logic of the numbers with no value attached to them. It's so actually, it's such a, that, you know, statistics is actually a slippery slope, because suddenly you won't know what you're justifying with the aid of numbers anymore.
Yeah.
And that's really what's happened to Indian television.
And the other big thing, I think the real achievement here is he's told the entirety of Indian history through these episodes. And not once did he have any outrage, backlash, trolling, none of that. And he said that. Whereas today, if you even attempted to do this, you know you would be screwed on some level. Which is so sad. I mean, so do you feel like that was just a freer time, that, you know, there was more liberty to just... Of
course. I mean, I've been saying, I think that, you know, I absolutely feel that it was just some of these shows are now, it's healing to watch them. You know, I started reading Middlemarch, George Eliot's Middlemarch, because I'm just like, I don't want to be in this age.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in this world. It's like social media and everyone tearing each other down, and like so much venom and just this horrendous kind of politics. And like, you know, I mean, I don't think you can actually have a show on the Mughals anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think Jodha Akbar could have been made post 2014.
Yeah. Would you, if it was offered to you, would you do sort of a big historical epic like that, or would you be worried that...
I mean, I'd do it, but I would do it if it was a historical epic and not some idiotic, sort of
twisting
perverse, toxic rewriting of history, as we are witnessing amongst a lot of the Bollywood historicals that are coming out now, which are just basically mouthpieces for Hindutva rewriting of history. You know. But
on sort of a happier note, your last pick was also on Doordarshan, which was Dekh Bhai Dekh, which was this wonderful sort of family sitcom that, exactly like you said, it really was about sort of uplifting your spirit and, you know, sort of the comedic take on the big joint family. So why was this on your list? And then sort of,
it was just lovely, because again, I toyed between putting Friends down there and Dekh Bhai Dekh, and I was like no, you know, of course Friends everyone watches and loves and knows about it now, but like really Dekh Bhai Dekh was almost an aspirational show, right?
Yeah.
Because it was showing a joint traditional family, but that was actually quite open-minded. Yeah. So that, you know, the son in the family had a girlfriend. Yeah. The parents were like teasing him about it. Yeah. Like, you know, the relationship with the servant was one of camaraderie
and care.
So it was a traditional setup, but the way in which they related with each other was actually not traditional at all. Yeah. So it seemed like, again, we watched it and we were like, so maybe we can bring our girlfriend and boyfriend home one day. Yeah. You know, and our parents should be okay with it.
I think even the grandmother was an activist as well.
Yeah, the grandmother was this cause that Sushma ji played that character, right? Yeah. Beautiful. And it was just such amazing performances, and you know the kind of, everyone was so lovable, and there was such an sort of fun vibe to the whole thing.
And it's interesting because India is not exactly associated with having like a sitcom culture. We don't have many of those like Hollywood. But then you do get gems like this, which
Yeah.
really sort of stand out and really,
Yeah.
people really love. And do you have sort of a specific favorite character from the show?
I mean, I used to think that young man was quite cute, the guy who plays Naveen Nishchol and
Yeah.
Farida Talal's son.
Yeah.
But I used to, I actually like the Dadi a lot.
Yeah.
Like she's a really fun character, and I like the Dadaji a lot also. Actually, the grandparents were really nice because they like,
Yeah.
they're very chill, and again, it's that very non-stereotypical aged Indian person who's
Yeah.
not like stuffy about morality and sanskar and Indian values, but is actually fun and modern and open-minded, and like, he's teasing his grandchildren about girlfriends and boyfriends, and
Not everything has to be intense.
right.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful chat. It's so great to just talk about sort of shows that you love and that have made such a big impact
Absolutely.
on so many people. Thank you so much, Swara.
Thank you. And actually, you have inspired me to rewatch. I'm gonna look at where Wonder Years is available, and I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, this is Swara Bhasker, and if you enjoyed watching this video, then please subscribe to Film Companion.